Well, good evening, lords and ladies. I am William Triarchy of the Realm of Kingdoms. I'm also known as the Palace Historian. Many of you were saddened by Queen Daenerys' demise at the hands of one she loved and trusted, Jon Snow, otherwise, as he had learned of his identity, Prince Aegon VII. As we all know, he was to be executed, but when Brandon Stark, the three-eyed raven, was king crowned by appointment and election, Brandon decided that executing Jon Snow, though Grey Worm of the Unsullied Warriors and many of the other supporters, as well as Dothraki, wanted to have Jon Snow's head, this was not to be done. He was sent to the wall to take the black yet again, and eventually he would become Lord Commander of the Night's Watch. In the meantime, Tyrion Lannister, the short man that we all have come to know, was also to be executed. He threw the hand of the Queen down, and then Brandon decided to put him to work as Hand of the King. I don't suppose he's going to throw that one down too, but who knows? I could be wrong. In the meantime, all is not lost, and I'll explain why. You see, right now I've been summoned to give Queen Daenerys, who you're probably about to be surprised, is back among the living. She's not a White Walker, but they want to make sure that she has all her normal thinking processes back to normal, because she's about to be risen from the dead. Now you're all wondering, being good fans, lords and ladies, how is that possible? Well, this is how the story begins. As we all know, the Red Temple was finally becoming unpopular. Nobody liked red priests and priestesses, not even the Ironborn. So it was sent out to Damien, who at the time was merely a red priest, yet to be promoted to high priest, lord of the Temple of Rolar. He was to gather some others in red robes who are highly skilled in weapons and do a scouting party to find out where they could relocate their faith. So they set out after he went and talked to the men about this, and they set sail on one of their large ships that they had paid many gold coins for and sent out sailing. During their time, Kinvara, the high priestess of the Red Temple, suddenly saw something in the distance. This was highly unusual, and so as she stood at the top of the steps at the Red Temple, what she saw got even closer. It finally landed with such a thunderous trembling that she was in deep shock. She wasn't sure if this dragon was going to eat her. But then she recognized whose dragon it was. And then the dragon lets go of something by 1 foot and with its nose pushed the body forward. Lo and behold, it is Queen Daenerys with a dagger sticking out of her chest. Drogon, who, as we all know, we have no idea what a dragon thinks, but then again, the temple of the Lord of Light being that of fire, and since dragons breathe fire, perhaps this was Drogon's way of thinking that being the mother of dragons, it would take fire to get her to wake up. So with a couple of loud roars at Kinvara, and I'm sure the whole realm heard that, at least from where the Red Temple's at, he then, with a thunderous trembling of the grounds and steps of the Red Temple, merely flies off. Kinvara, after she was done being shocked, kind of went down, knelt down by Queen Daenerys' body, and noticed the dagger and entirely pulled it out. True, it was covered in her blood, but it was also almost coagulated, so it didn't really drip blood off the blade a whole lot. So then she looks at Queen Daenerys, and a thought came to mind. Now, normally spells are forbidden and have been since the time of the Valyrian Doom. But she went before her time, and in Kinvara's way of thinking, what if she could be brought to life? After all, when Melisandre was still alive, she merely washed Jon Snow's body, though he was stabbed all over by traitors of the Night's Watch, and washed his hair and said a few incantations. But then she also realized Daenerys is a pureblood. Pureblood Targaryens don't just merely get their hair washed and their body washed, ointments and a few incantations. A pureblood, though it has never been done before, and is considered to be forbidden, and those laws still exist for the realm of kingdoms, is in effect even as of this day. So now begins the plot and preparation of the forbidden. She had some other priests and priestesses assist her in stripping Daenerys naked after she had cleaned her body in much the same manner as Melisandre had done for Jon Snow, washing her hair and having it undone. Then puts her body into a brand new sarcophagus meant for some rich person of royalty in Essos. The lid was kind of unusual because it can lift straight up on special inserts that would click into place and hold it up by itself. Perhaps they started gaining some new long lost skills that would be considered unusual, but nevertheless, the lid held up on its own, and then covered her with a gold cloth that's woven over the face and her entire body, and then dumped lots and lots of ice that was chopped up to preserve Queen Daenerys' body. As she was doing so, Damien had finally approached, and she noticed that he was coming forward. He gave the report that while the north is considered to be fairly cold, they discovered something that has never been seen before. A building that had never existed, at least as far as they knew. It looked like a castle, but had an eerie sensation about it. Apparently, another snowstorm or gusty winds was coming up, and they had to turn around since they didn't get a chance to disembark and check it out, because the ice was trying to close in on the hull. And as everyone knows, if a ship is locked in by ice, it can crush the hull and the ship would sink or be destroyed. So they were lucky enough to turn the ship around just as the ice was coming together. It's going to be another cold night, and the ice will become one sheet over the waters of Eastwatch by the sea. So they sailed or back to port, and so that's where he made his report. Well, at this point, this is now where our story begins. And since I am summoned to test her memories with the history to see if she's still got her memories intact, this happened 5 years later, after she ordered that Queen Daenerys in the sarcophagus be taken to this unknown building that suddenly appeared, not knowing that it would be later discovered that it was the Castle of the Damned, until 5 years later, because she had to consult Rolar to see what was to be done about this, since she is a pureblood and not like that of Jon Snow. And so this is the beginning. At Castle Black, it is not the same as before. It has a whole new look and a stronger build now. It has been totally renovated. And many of the other castles were long since never used or abandoned have also been renovated. About the time that Jon Snow, who is now back as Lord Commander of the Night's Watch, with no title as Prince, no lands, simply known now as either Jon Snow, which most people know him as, or by his discovered name Aegon the Seventh, is given the opportunity to go on a tour to the east and then one to the west on the wall. And they've yet still to do the rest of the wall repair, since the Great White Walker War had been a victory, though the wall had been destroyed down by Eastwatch by the sea. They call out, and it seems that wildlings are wanting to return to their homeland, because, after all, the White Walker War is over. One thing that Jon Snow looks at and seems very perturbed is that someone is dressed like that of Rattle Shirt, or Rattle Bones, whatever you want to call him. And he still has a hard time dealing with the fact that he was spared, and yet the king beyond the wall was burned alive by Stannis Baratheon and Melisandre. But he pays him no mind and gives a signal to allow the wildlings to go beyond the wall to their homeland. In the meantime, Ulmer then comes up to Jon Snow, seeing the spectacle that Jon's seeing. So, I guess they wish to go home, and we have no reason to hold them then, right? No, let them go. White Walker's war is over. We have no reason to hold them. Very well. I thought that if you weren't too busy, my lord, we could take a stroll on top of the wall to the east, so you can check out each of the renovations that have been completed by your command, and then we can return back probably for some food and some ale, and then take a walk to the west so you can inspect those as well. That'd be fine. And since we just did a roll call, I want all the recruiters to be sent out to each of the kingdoms, because I imagine not everyone during the White Walker War had a chance to escape anyway. And I'm pretty certain that they are not going to want to be stuck for the rest of their life in a dungeon. They'll probably be more than happy to join us here at the wall. Yes, I would agree. So, with that, then, Jon Howardy had selected about 3 others that would be specially selected as his attendants or rangers to do special duties with him. So, in which case then, they start out to the east to do the inspection of each castle that's along the wall. Greetings, everyone. I am glad you have responded to my summons. I have sought the Lord of Light regarding a certain situation that has occurred about 5 years ago. The only ones that know of this, of course, is the Bloodlords, who I have recently promoted as such, and Dark Shadow, who is going to be their leader, Cag, here, who had completed a mission C to see if we could find a new location for our temple, since our faith is not widely accepted anymore, will be the leader of the Blood Lords and assisting Dark Shadow. Alisan, I have taken note that you have done very well, and since Melisandre is no more, as she took her own life by removing the collar of protection, you shall be her replacement. Well, thank you, High Priestess. I do accept this and appreciate it. As for you, you will be, as always, the historian. There is going to come a time, and I might as well tell you now, that Queen Daenerys is due to return. I I thought she was dead. She is, but she won't be. Isn't that supposed to be forbidden? After all, she's not like Jon Snow. She's a pureblood. Yes, but I'm sure you know what happens to loose lips and loose tongues. Well, be it far from me that I say anything. So what service am I to you? You will be testing her to see if her memories will be intact once she is back from the dead. I see. Very well then, I will gather all histories as necessary to test her on this. When the time is right, I will summon for you. Yes, my lady. And what do you have of me? I've never been to Westeros before. You will be selected as the Mistress of Whispers. Long time ago, there has been one called Mistress of Whispers, but usually it's the Master or Lord of Whispers. Lord Varys was one such man, but unfortunately he didn't heed the warnings that I tried to give him in Marine, and so the seeds that he sown sealed his fate. I would imagine you will not make the same mistakes. Of course not, Kinvara. I am a woman of virtue and do hold certain things to be truthful to my own duties, of which I have sworn to be a Mistress of Whispers. Very good, then. You will be assisting Queen Daenerys without question. I understand. Dark Shadow, yes. You are, of course, as you already know, in charge of the Blood Lords. Cag here will be your assistant. The secret society I believe that we need to have now, because even though our faith is no longer popular, will be one known of fire and blood. I believe, though you could pick your own leader, there is one that has proven himself to where I don't feel he should be promoted to High Priest Lord of the Red Temple, but rather be High Priest Lord Damien of the secret society, first ever of its kind, of Fire and Blood. That would be interesting. That is, if you accept him. Yes, well, we've never had any issues, and I would be glad to serve as um, his servant in these times of the new secret society. Good. He will give you instructions when the time comes, as I have to have a discussion with him, but I have many things and duties I have to perform first. Understood. Well, I suppose you're going to tell me that I have to serve him as well. No. You have always been good at your visions, and, since you and Damien are kind of like friends anyway, you will be the palace visionary for Queen Daenerys when she returns. I see. And you're not worried about this conspiracy that possibly could be looked at as trying to usurp King Brandon, who's been appointed and elected to the Iron Throne of Swords? No, why should I? Jon Snow was risen from the dead by Melisandre, washing his hair, his body, putting on ointments and incantations. Yes, but she's a pureblood. Yes, I understand that. That is why I need to have a discussion with the soon-to-be High Priest Lord, Damien. All right. When the time is right, I will summon for you as well. Well then, Dark Shadow, please do me a favor. Take this robe to um, Damien and let him know that I do apologize that he will not be promoted to High Priest Lord of the Ren Temple, but of the new secret society he will be the High Priest Lord of Fire and Blood. Very well. I'm sure he'll greatly accept this. Good, because we have much to get done here, and there is so much to do and not much time to do it. It has been 5 years since I have had Queen Daenerys' body in a sarcophagus shipped out beyond the wall of Eastwatch by the Sea to this unusual temple that suddenly appeared out of nowhere. So with that, they all then depart in their various directions to get certain tasks and preparations completed. Back at Castle Black, Jon Snow, or Aegon the Seventh, then calls a meeting of the specially selected rangers that are to work with him. I've called you out here today because I've already completed the east side inspections and everything looks well. You will walk with me as we do our west side inspections. There'll be plenty of time for you to check out the east, as Ulmer and I have already done. Black Vinar, I've chosen you to be the head of the group here. You are the one with seniority, and since before I have been sent back to the wall, you've been the one that should have been closest to being a Lord Commander of the Night's Watch. In the meantime, I appreciate everyone's trust and confidence in me to do my duty again as it was before at the time of when we were having the Great White Walker War upon us. Well, you can count on me, Lord Commander. I will do whatever I can to assist you. Yeah, well, sure beats having to do regular chores, although I know I'm going to have to still do them anyway. Well, there is a reason he did choose us, and that makes 4 of us anyway. So, does that mean we get special privileges then, since we are the 4 to assist you? No, you'll be treated just like everyone else, like all the other rangers. Yeah, if it makes you feel better, although we don't do titles, you can think of yourselves as the guards to the Lord Commander. But in the meantime, you'll all have duty, just as I will, and other rangers will. Well, you heard Jon Snow then, or Aegon the Sixth. I guess it doesn't matter what you call him. But then let us go ahead and start our inspections on the west side. So with everybody nodding in agreement, they now go to the west. At House Greyjoy, it is an unusual sight for Kinvara to see a red priestess coming ashore and with some bloodlords coming to speak with her. If you're here to try to convert us, I believe my uncle a long time ago told a red priest, we have no need of Rolar. We believe in the drowned god. I have no intentions of converting you. I have come to ask if I could have your services. Me? She starts laughing. What would a red priestess want with the Ironborn? Seriously? Well, I believe that you have men of very good skill in working metal. Yes, that is true. Get on with it. Well, soon Queen Daenerys shall return. I don't find that funny. Well, I wasn't trying to be. There is going to come a time that she's going to be awakened, and she shall return. I thought that kind of thing is what gets people burned at the stake for. Yes, well, I am not a witch. I am a high priestess. And it won't be me who will be doing the task of raising her, but I am not at liberty to say who it will be for their own protection. I am here to simply hire you to make a new Iron Throne of Swords. And what would a red priestess want with a new Iron Throne of Swords? Drogon destroyed the last one. Certainly you don't intend to try to declare yourself queen of the realm. No, I have my own duties. While tempting as it may sound, I do not foresee myself ever being a queen of the realm of kingdoms. Not that anybody would listen to me anyway. Well, at least there's something we agree on. Well, get on with it, then what is it you want me and the men here to do? So she hands her a picture. This here will be the new Iron Throne of Swords. It will be taller, and it will have gold-tipped mermen forks that, from myth and fables, guardians of the sea. Well, as I said, the drowned god is a guardian of our sea, and what is dead may never die. And we don't believe in mermen or mermaids, although we have never seen any ourselves. But all right. Anything else? Yes, when you put it together, it'll be about 10 steps high, and this will be the final decor that it shall look like. So she kind of studies it then. All right. Now, unless, of course, you don't think you can handle this, well, you're not going to find anyone else that can do a job like this. No, so I guess I came to the right place then. Anything else? Yes. When she comes back, she will not be the pushover like she was, as many thought anyway. She will be known as a warrior queen, and a warrior queen should have a good Valyrian steel sword. This will be the design for her warrior sword. I must say, you're really going all out then. Well, we don't have no Valyrian steel here, but perhaps I do know someone who can give us a supply of that, especially for this particular item, unless there's other things that you want in Valyrian steel. No, just this one particular item. The others, of course, will be, well, more of an armor type. All right, then you have other tasks for me to do. Yes. Then she starts going through the first one. This will be her helm during the time of battle. While I don't foresee her going into battle, if in the event she should, though she would be riding 3 new dragons, it would be proper for her to be armored as such to protect herself. This here will be her body armor, worn as a royal spectacle that would show that she is the warrior queen. This is shoulder protectors, put over the shoulders for extra protection. In case someone was able to, fortunate enough to get past her dragons and try to hack off a limb, it would be made of a different type of metal, that of iron. This is her jousting lance, something fitting for a returning mother of dragons, the warrior queen. This here will be her royal cloak, and it will need special fasteners so that when the cloak is put on, it can fasten to her body armor. Then she pauses for a moment. Okay, yes, now I see. This here is going to be her warrior queen shield. Not that she would have to worry about anything, as Long ago, there was a dragon civil war, but at the same time, if she's on the ground, at least she'll be able to protect herself if someone was foolish enough to try to get past her dragons, although they would still have to contend with the Unsullied, and they soon, I'm sure, will hear the rumor of when she finally has returned. Well, this is a lot of work, and is this a problem for you? Not for me, but I'm not trying to overwork the men here either. We go fishing, we work stuff in iron, and that's pretty much it. We do trading and do a lot of travels to keep our own kingdom well plenished in food for the winter that's going on and anything else that our kingdom needs. Well, then, this should be an easy task for you. Yes, well, the cloak, obviously, we don't sew. I believe that's also one of our mottos. But there may be some that is skilled in um, certain working of cloth. We don't consider them ironborn, but they are ones who serve the ironborn. I believe that they will be able to check with their wives and mistresses, and they can have the cloak with a special fastener completed. The rest of it we can handle ourselves. Very good then. So, let's talk about payment then. Yes, well, I do understand that the Ironborn are ones that would prefer to get paid for their services, so I took the liberty of bringing several chests. She claps her hand, and the Bloodlords then move forward, laying out in 2 rows chests of gold and opening each lid. Well, my, a lot of gold dragons. I don't suppose I need to ask whether you stole this from somewhere, because usually the Iron Bank has control of this. Well, we have our ways of making sure the Iron Bank's paid and not just go on a spending spree. But that is the temple of Rolar. We conserve what we have, and that is how we survive and maintain our tranquility of peace and thankfulness of what we do have. Yes, well, whatever you want to call it. Very well then, I'll take the gold and I'll use these designs that you have. Yes, the pictures are yours to keep. You'll be needing them, especially when you go to assemble the Iron Throne together. Yes, because it won't fit below decks. It will have to be made in 2 parts. And who's going to do the decor of the throne room? Well, never mind. If we're going to do this much, we might as well get this done right. I wouldn't trust this type of work with just anyone. After all, we are Ironborn, and we know how to work metal, and we know how to make things look royal and majestic. I think you'll leave it to us, and we'll get the task done. But when we're finished, when should we deliver? Well, there's the part that needs to be understood. I will send a raven. You will know when to make delivery, and it will be assembled in where the old Iron Throne of Swords was at. You need not worry about any molten mess, because that has long since been chipped away and the floors cleaned up as best as possible. We have laid down new floor that is so clear you would almost think it was like glass. Really. Well, we might have to dirty your floors to assemble this, but I'm sure you will try to do our best not to make too much of a mess. I'm sure it will also at the same time give your housekeep something to do. Alright, so is there anything else? Not that I can think of at this moment. Very good then. We will take care of this, and we will get this job that you've hired us to do We can't always be consecutive because we have other duties for our kingdom, but we will have intervals of people working on this task. So I guess with nothing else then, there'll be no reason for you to linger here, Red Priestess. No, Queen Yara, we have finished our business, and you have accepted, so we trust everything in your hands. Very good, then. I'll be seeing you soon and waiting for you to send that raven. And so with that, they then part their ways. At the Citadel, the Maesters Guild suddenly gets an unexpected visit from Priest Lord Darkshadow and some Bloodlords coming into the guild. As they start rummaging through books like they're looking for something. Can I help you? What are you looking for? Then he comes forward and sees the guy holding his hand down. If you want to register, you need to do it here, not rummaging through the books. I'm not here to be registering for anything, but I have a message for you to register. I'm seeking a book, and not just any book. This book here is as old as the time before the Valyrian Doom. My friend here, Cag, and some Bloodlords are here to help find it. And you need to register then if you're looking for studying of ancient artifacts from old Valyria. I'm not here for studying anything. Where is the book of the forbidden spells? That is a forbidden book and is not to be released. Really? So, it looks like maybe we did come in time. It looks like you need some rearranging done in here. Looks kind of stuffy. So he gives a signal, and Cag and some Bloodlords start knocking stuff over. What do you think you're doing? Then also the book falls over with a loud bang, and books fall out of it. Stop! Can't you see you're making a mess of things? Do you wish to release the book? Then he gets up from his chair as I both look at him. I'll bring it right back. You wait here. So Darkshadow then watches his move as he disappears through a corridor of other bookcases, and then shortly returns and sits down. You do know this is forbidden, right? That this is not something that's supposed to be released. This book, there is a law that has been going on since the time of the Valyrian Doom and is still in effect. Or were you aware of that? Yes, we are aware of it. Were you aware that perhaps it might not be in your best interest to say anything of our being here, or of a certain book that we're asking for? And what is that supposed to mean? Are you trying to threaten the Maesters Guild? Then he looks towards him, stepping closer. I don't need to threaten. I make promises and I keep them. I started a new hobby collecting tongues out of the mouths of people who have big mouths. The question you need to ask yourself, do you have a big mouth? Because if I find out that you've said anything to anyone in the realm of kingdoms of our being here, we will return and we'll be doing more arranging, but you will never be able to speak again. Are we not clear? He doesn't say a word and just kind of looks at him. Good. Sorry about the rearranging of your furniture here. I was never good at moving furniture around. They both look at each other with snide, remarking laughs. He just watches them as they get the book, and they both look at it. Then Cag makes an inquiry. This seems to be the one that has the 4 elements, or correct me if I'm wrong, is it 5 elements, of old Valyria? Yes, indeed. And there's one way to find out if this is real and not a fake or copy of the original. So he opens up the book. Yes, just as I thought. How to raise... And he looks at the guy looking at him. Well, it's not your business what we need it for, but rest assured we will, if we remember to return it, get it back to you. Remember what I said about your loose lips and tongue. You wouldn't not be able to speak again. I think we have an understanding. He just nods his head yes, and then they leave.